Welcome back to my channel. Today I will present the movie called Mission Impossible 3. Turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie starts, and we see Ethan Hunt, who is now retired from field work in IMF. He has done many missions and operations, but he is done now. He just lives a quiet life with the woman he loves, his fiancée Julia, who is a nurse at a hospital. Now all he does is induct people into IMF and train them. Julia and Ethan have been having a great life together. It is also revealed that these two are going to be married soon too. Julia, however, does not know anything about what Ethan really does. One day, when their engagement party is going on, Ethan receives a call. The man calling him is the IMF Operations Director Musgrave, who provides him with a disposable camera. After viewing a video hidden in the camera, he finds out Musgrave wants him to rescue Agent Lindsay Ferris, Ethan's protege, who has been captured in Berlin by Owen Davian, a prominent dealer in the international black market. Ethan does not at all want to get back on the field, but he still agrees to help. After reluctantly agreeing to participate in the mission, he meets the team which has been selected for him, consisting of Declan Gormley, Jean, and his old partner Luther Stickle. Ethan goes on to tell Julia that he is going to be away for a while as he has something important to do, still not telling her the truth. The whole team then gets fully prepared for the mission and makes their way to Berlin. Luther goes on to scan the whole area and gets to know about the location of Lindsay. He goes on to guide everyone about where their main target is, and the whole team makes their way into the building. The next thing we see, Luther waits for the right moment and then tells everyone to shoot. Firing begins, and they go on to kill almost all the enemies in the building. They finally get to the room where Lindsay has been kept. She does not look in too great a condition. They also find 2 laptops in the room. After taking Lindsay, they right away get out of there and blow up the whole building. Their helicopter arrives, they board it right away and leave as they try to take flight. Lindsay keeps screaming in agony, she is in too much pain. When Ethan goes on to scan her head, he learns that an explosive capsule has been placed inside her head through her nose. Ethan tries his best to defuse this mini-bomb, but it detonates and the woman dies. IMF's supreme boss is not at all happy with this mission. He goes on to make it abundantly clear to them that he thinks they did a really bad job. This mission was one of the weakest ones. After Lindsay's funeral, Ethan is notified of a package sent to him by Lindsay and discovers that it is a microdot hidden under the stamp in a blank postcard. Ethan discusses its possible importance with Luther, and both decide to keep its existence a secret. On the other hand, the tech guy at IMF goes on to recover data from those laptops. Using information recovered from the laptop, they learn that Davian's next target is going to be Vatican City. Davian is going to go to the capital of Rome because he wants to get his hands on a thing they call the rabbit foot. Ethan decides that he is going to take the matter into his own hands. Now he does not ask anyone's permission and goes on to make a plan on going to Vatican City to catch Davian. Right there at the meeting, neither of Ethan's superiors, Director Brasil or Musgrave, has authorized the mission. Before leaving, Ethan reassures Julia of their relationship and promptly marries her at a hospital in a small ceremony. The team then arrives in Rome and sets off their elaborate plan to abduct Davian. When they get there, Ethan makes his way to an ancient building where some kind of celebration is about to take place. The security in this place is on high alert, but Ethan still easily manages to infiltrate the building with ease. When he gets there, he goes on to wear a mask that makes him look just like Davian. He then tells one of his partners to spill wine on his shirt, and when Davian makes his way to the bathroom to clean his shirt, he is caught by Ethan right there, who takes him away. Ethan then makes his way to the party, and everyone thinks he is Davian. He starts talking to the woman who spilled wine on the real Davian's shirt. They get out of there in Davian's car. They then stop the car right on a sewer cap. They get out of the car from underneath and make their way down the sewers. They then go on to detonate a bomb in the car from which they just got out. All the people now think that Davian is dead because they all saw him leave in that car. Ethan, on the other hand, has put Davian in their plane, and the whole team has already left. When Davian wakes up, he finds Ethan sitting right in front of him. Ethan right away goes on to ask him about the rabbit's foot, but Davian refuses to tell him any information whatsoever. Davian is angry at Ethan for abducting him. He makes it abundantly clear to him that there are going to be consequences for what he has done. He tells Ethan that he is going to kill him in front of the woman he loves. Ethan now gets angry as well. He goes on to open the shaft of the plane and hangs Davian right there, threatening to throw him off the plane if he still refuses to give him the information he wants. Davian still does not budge. While transporting Davian across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel in a convoy, Luther hands Ethan a laptop computer and plays the video message from the decoded microdot. Lindsay had discovered that Director Brasil is a mole who has been leaking information to Davian about IMF operations. This is when Ethan and his team are attacked by foreign mercenaries who, using a UAV drone, manage to extract Davian. Remembering Davian's threats to kill him and his wife, Ethan immediately rushes to the hospital where Julia works. However, Ethan is already too late because by the time he gets to the hospital, he learns that she has already been taken away. This is when Ethan goes on to receive a call from Davian. Davian then goes on to tell Ethan that the bag he took from him contains all the information about the rabbit's foot and its location. He tells Ethan that he is going to get the rabbit's foot for him, and if he is not able to get Davian the rabbit's foot, he might never see his wife again. Ethan is now horrified by the prospect that these goons have his wife, and they're going to make him do whatever they like. As he tries to figure out his next move, some people from IMF pull up and catch him. They make him sit in the car with them and take him away to the head of IMF, the man who has been reported to be a mole. By now, dead Lindsay Brasil goes on to ask Ethan why on earth did he go on an unauthorized mission. He says that many people died in that mission in the city and it caused a lot of destruction as well. He goes on to make it abundantly clear to him that he is not going to do anything without Brasil's approval anymore. In this investigation, IMF's assistant director is also present. This is the man who sent Ethan to bring back Lindsay at the beginning of the movie. Ethan is shocked when he learns that the assistant director knows what Davian has done to Ethan. The director tells him that he is well aware of the fact that Ethan only has 48 hours to bring the rabbit's foot for Davian. Ethan then manages to escape with help from Musgrave, who intercepted Ethan's call from Davian and instructs Ethan to go to Shanghai because this is where he is going to find the rabbit's foot. Ethan then goes on to change his appearance and makes his way to Shanghai right away because he has very little time left to carry out this mission and rescue his wife. The assistant director likes Ethan, so he wants to help him carry out this mission. He goes on to send the rest of the team to Shanghai as well but does not tell the IMF head about why he is sending them there. He just tells the others that they are going on another mission. Ethan reunites with his team once more and manages to infiltrate the heavily guarded building containing the rabbit's foot and steal it. Only 5 seconds are left before the 48 hours are completed. Ethan goes on to call Davian and tells him that he has the rabbit's foot. Davian then tells him of a location where he has to take it. Ethan then goes to the established meeting place where Davian is already waiting for him with his men. Ethan goes on to tell the other team members that they can now go back before he makes his way to the location where he is to meet Davian. A limo arrives and Ethan gets in it. The driver of the car then goes on to tell him that he is not allowed to ask any questions before making him drink a substance with which Ethan is not familiar. Just as Ethan drinks the substance, he is knocked unconscious. Right away he awakens in a CD room where Davian is sitting right in front of him. Ethan has been tied to a chair. Davian then injects an explosive charge like the one that killed Lindsay into his head. Julia is also right in front of him. She too has been tied up and her mouth has been taped. Davian is pointing a gun at her. He goes on to tell Ethan to tell him about the real rabbit's foot because the one Ethan gave him is not real, according to Davian. Ethan goes on to tell him again and again that he has already given him the right rabbit's foot. Davian, however, does not agree. Ethan shoots Julia and leaves after Davian leaves. Musgrave, IMF's assistant director, enters the room, revealing himself as the traitor, and explains the situation to a stunned Ethan. Davian will sell the rabbit's foot to known Middle Eastern enemies of the United States. The resulting attack is being anticipated and controlled to generate only acceptable losses. The concept of a false attack taken to the next level. This will then justify a massive retaliation that would result in an internationally supported hostile takeover of the region. He shows Ethan that the dead Julia was actually one of Davian's incompetent personnel wearing a mask used to make sure that Ethan had brought the real rabbit's foot. Julia is still alive. He then goes on to ask Ethan what kind of message Lindsay gave to him in that ship. He asks Ethan if she knew about him being the mole and working with Damien. Ethan, however, goes on to tell Musgrave that he is not going to tell him anything until he is sure that his wife is alive and well. He tells him to put him through to his wife just as he makes him talk to Julia. Musgrave comes a little too close to Ethan. Ethan escapes by biting Musgrave's arm before attacking him and taking his phone, which is used to track down Julia's location. He then goes on to tell the tech guy at IMF to help him locate his wife by tracking the contact number dialed by Musgrave. He manages to get Julia, but there are many of Davian's people in the building, and Ethan goes on to shoot all of them and injures some of them in hand-to-hand combat as well. Just as he tries to fight his way out of there with his wife, the bomb in his head kicks in. He feels severe pain, feeling like his brain is about to get ripped from the inside. There's a splitting noise in Ethan's head which renders him incapable of thinking properly and defending himself. Davian then begins to savagely beat Ethan, but just as Davian prepares to kill Julia, Ethan manages to make an impressive comeback and hurls Davian out of the window. Davian is killed when a truck runs over him. Ethan, however, manages to get out of the way just in time. He is, however, still hurting very badly because of the bomb in his head. If the bomb is not deactivated right away, he is going to die. Julia is a nurse, so she can help him with it. He goes on to tell Julia how she can deactivate this bomb. Julia does manage to deactivate it, but she is horrified when she realizes that Ethan's heart has stopped beating. So more people from Davian's gang get there again, but Julia goes on to shoot them all. She then goes on to pump Ethan's heart and manages to get him back to his senses again. Both of them are safe, and the next thing we know, Ethan is hanging out with her when he goes on to tell her everything about his career. He even takes her to their base and introduces her to his whole team. Russell is really happy with the job Ethan has done. He goes on to tell him that he really appreciates his work and is proud of him. Russell also tells Ethan that he might hold a grudge against him for what he did to Ethan before Ethan left for Shanghai and tells him that he is sorry about all that. When they are done talking about these pleasant things, he goes on to tell Ethan that there is a job for him at the White House and they are eager to see Ethan. Ethan, however, goes on to tell him that he is not going to be doing any spy missions right away because he just got married. He wants to go on a honeymoon with his wife before he gets back in the field again. Russell then asks Ethan if he is thinking about quitting this job and Ethan tells him that he cannot say anything for sure right now. He then tells the boss that he wants to know more about Rabbit's Foot. Russell, however, tells Ethan that when he promises that he is not going to quit this job, he will be told about Rabbit's Foot. Then Ethan smiles, grabs his wife's arm and makes his way out of the building, and with the two going on a honeymoon, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. For more videos, please like, share, and subscribe.